What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode Podcast interview, the number one podcast in the industry for real estate agents to learn how to get shit done. Make sure to check us out at www.gsdmode.com to check out other GSD Mode Podcast interviews and other additional free content, free webinar trainings, and more epic content that I'm always putting out there to help real estate agents like you crush your real estate goals. Just a few quick plugs before we begin. If you are a driven real estate agent that has big goals, big dreams, and want to create greatness, then check out my personal mentorship coaching program at www.90daymastery.com, where you can see how it works, what you can expect, see a ton of testimonials about the massive success other realtors just like yourself have experienced with the program, and learn why thousands and thousands of real estate agents have decided to join my personal coaching program to help them change their business and life forever. All right, so as real estate agents, hands down, by far, the number one most important tool in our real estate business is our CRM. If you want to use the exact same website and CRM I use that provides you with all my personal follow-up drips that allows my team to generate thousands of leads each and every month and close 2+ homes every single day, check us out at www.perfectstormnow.com to see the best, most effective, and affordable website CRM system on the planet. If you are going to sign up, make sure to go to perfectstormgsd.com. You want to make sure that you go there to register, perfectstormgsd.com, where you can get the registration fee waived and only pay $199 a month. One last quick thing. Your support truly means a lot. If you find these interviews and any other GSD Mode content powerful, please make sure to share it with anyone that you feel can benefit from this content. All right, it is time to jump on into today's GSD Mode Podcast interview. What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode Podcast interview, where every single week we interview top entrepreneurs, top real estate professionals, and those that are just out there dominating their space, that are just kicking ass and doing big things. So today, guys, we got another rock star guest on, actually a repeat guest. You know, we've only had maybe half a dozen repeat guests over the 4 or 5 years we've been doing this show now, and the 1,000 or some interviews that we've done. And so I'm excited, man. We got a dude that it's been cool to be able to watch his journey and watch him explode, man. You know, we first met when our guest that I'm going to introduce you guys to in a second was just getting rolling, man. Yeah, right. And in that time, seeing him go from just a, I don't want to say just a, but, just like we all do, we start as individual agents, and in a matter of just a few years, man, individual agent to team leader, to very successful brokerage owner, to now also owning his own mortgage company and the brokerage side, and doing some cool things that might be going national here very, very soon. So a 100% badass who's done in a few years what most can't do in a lifetime. So really stoked and honored to have my good friend Justen Martin on the show, dude.
And excited to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, I'm always excited for this stuff, man. So I'm not going to go too far into those that watch the show, and I know you've seen the show and you've been on the show, right? Usually go into your journey and all of that. Now we jammed for a good hour and a half in the last episode, the last interview. So those that haven't seen Justen's first interview, right below this one, we're going to have a link where you can watch his first interview. So you might want to pause right now and watch that if you want to hear his journey of what got him to where he is today. Because really what we're going to talk about is what he's done since then, because it's been just over a year since we had him on the show, or about a year since we had him on the show with that. So, but dude, if you could just give, I don't know, a 60-second snapshot of who you are, kind of your journey of what's led you to where you are today, and then we can just pick up from there.
Perfect. Well, when you watch my first interview, and Josh, you can really relate to this from that last time we talked offline about how much business can you handle, and how many things can you do really well. And when I went through the 90-day mastery program, so a little over 4 years ago, I quit a job that, paid more money than most people get to make. And I needed to do it because I had a couple young children that, I wanted to be an example for, let them know you can't, run from your fears, just a safe job, for some people isn't what they need. And so a business partner of mine who I got to make sure, he doesn't get to be on these shows with me as much because he's kind of the engineer of all of it, right? He gave me a phone call, man, when I was in the Dallas-Fort Worth airport on a multi-unit tour for some P&L operations for my old company. And man, he said, Justin, you got to quit. I promise you and your family, you guys will be okay. And if you're not okay, well, my family won't be either. And he was with Keller Williams for a period of time. And we put together, our brokerage together over, just a couple months. And I quit that job, went all in on, real estate. And last time on the podcast, he said, well, like, where does a new person start? And so I'll just repeat it again, is the new person starts with the 90-day mastery program, and it's always exciting because I get to share so much of what I learned in the mastery program was really the basis of my systems and processes. And then you have to kind of create your own style, right? Because nobody's ever going to be you. They're not necessarily going to be me. They got to be kind of who they are. But there is, a repeatable way to go have excellence. And, all you have to do is look at all the podcasts you have. And I mean, all the people tend to have somewhat of what we were talking about offline, which was, level of the basics now are, you are a top agent. You do have systems, you do have processes, business acumen, and when you watch my first podcast, it's kind of funny because I was also meeting my mentor, right? So the first time I was on there, man, my smile, I talked a million miles per second. And what's crazy in real estate though is, 4 or 5 years later, it hardens you a little bit. It's a tough industry, man. And you're not talking as fast. I mean, you still have the same passion, you still have the same enthusiasm. There's usually, scars. There's usually, these things you've been through, man, even if you're super successful or you're still just trying to hit that level of success. And so 4 years, into the journey, we went from 2 people to last time we were on the show, I think we had like 18 to 20 agents, and I would call that kind of like the mega team, where everybody's doing 17 deals, a year. And then, we started really turning into a brokerage. We got, a little over 50 agents now. And, we kind of have a model of what we really wanted in the beginning, which was, really just be the best place to either start or restart your career, and I think our stats and systems really speak for that. And I mean, the real estate game is changing. You got Gary Keller back to being, in command, right? You got co-founder of Zillow. No, I'm chief operator now, so it seems like there's a lot of, the iBuyer world, all these things is, I remember when I watched your first podcast, or we were, when I watched it, Dennis Yu was on it. And then when I watched Christina Griffin, just a couple weeks ago, she was talking about your guys' REO days, right? Like working on Christmas Eve and, all these things. And it's so funny because it feels like those days are so far away from the way we kind of traditionally were doing real estate where, my Zillow leads when we first started cost me $30. I mean, I was giving them to everybody, right? Like, hey, take a crack at Zillow leads. And if you're a direct response marketer, you're doing great to where, lead costs went from, pennies to dollars, to hundreds now, and those are the things that over the last 4 years, it's been a lot of fun to meet amazing people. I got to give credit to so many of the people at our office that have helped us and, great partners like yourself and other people that helped us get to where we are today. And so now, man, we're really just moving from kind of that best place to start or restart your real estate career, out there in Colorado and then become an entrepreneur. And I think that's probably more of the story. And I think you have a lot of feedback when it comes to how much you have to diversify, and start working on your entrepreneurship when you're in the real estate game.
Yeah, 100%. I love it, man. And appreciate the kind words, man. It's funny because it's, a lot of people, like when they, jump on a webinar, they'll reach out to me about the boot camp, they're new agents, right? The common question is, well, I'm new. I mean, will I be okay with the program, right? Because they're not seasoned yet. And they see so many, we have so many seasoned agents that just murder with that program. So many broker owners and, so that when they see that, I think it becomes intimidating where, they'll see somebody that's doing 150 grand to then netting a million a year in 2 years from the program. But here's the thing with this. I'm bringing this up because you're living proof of this, and it's not about the boot camp. I don't want to make this a sales pitch for the boot camp per se, even though I appreciate all the plugs for sure. But it's about getting the right roadmap and having the right mentor. what I love about real estate, dude, is it's not like we're fucking Elon Musk trying to solve interstellar space travel during a lifetime. And dude, our business is pretty simplistic, and there's people out there that have done what we're looking to do before us, and whether it's in real estate or another industry. For example, I was just talking with a broker owner the other day that has they're now in 8 different states. They have about 2,000 agents, right? And they're trying to scale up, right? But with their model, they don't have other people to kind of model after in the real estate business, because they have a unique model. Right. But then, I just connected the dots with him of, okay, we'll go study, here's an industry that's very similar to your model. Here's 3 of them, right? With how you guys operate, just go out there and just duplicate what they've done to be able to go out there and scale. And, when people ask me about being a new realtor, I'm like, dude, when I was new, you have the different stresses, like filling out the contract, learning zip forms, lockbox key, but once you pop a few deals to get that down. But really, what you're doing as an individual agent is no different than what you do as a team leader or brokerage owner, right? It's
right.
Dude, it's all systems, processes, right? Tracking your numbers, tracking your data, mastering your craft, and you're always recruiting, right? Whether you're recruiting buyers or sellers, and at some point in your career, we're recruiting buyers and sellers and other realtors. Then you get to the point where you're just recruiting realtors. Then you get to the point where you're recruiting recruiters to recruit the realtors, right? And you just keep leveling up. It's all the same process. And but you're proof of, when people ask that question of, well, I'm new. I'm like, well, it's just up to you on how long you want to delay your success. And again, this isn't about the boot camp. This is about just, regardless, get a freaking mentor. And that's what I did, right? I didn't care what the splits were. I found the dude I wanted to emulate and be around. So when the market crashed, I was in the business 2 years, 5 years old. I had no idea what a buyer's market or really even a recession was, right? But I went to my mentor and I'm like, hey man, the market's declining. And he's been a top producer for 30, 40 years. I'm like, what do I do? It's like, learn short sales and start filling out REO applications. And that's all I had to say. I could figure out the rest from there. But I had somebody, tell me what road to go down. Can you just kind of, and this isn't about, because I know you have other mentors like Dennis Yu and out there, but can you just elaborate on the importance, man, that it's made on your career? Because again, you've done in 2 or 3 years what most can't do in 30 years, right? Of not trying to figure this stuff out, but going out there and just finding the right mentor with the proven strategy. Because think of the time savings. Right now I'm setting up all these different, mini our Facebook chat bots and text chat bots, whatever. And I signed up for all the systems, like, oh, go take all these trainings. I'm like, no, who the fuck do I hire? I don't care what they pay. I'm like, I want it done fast and I want it done right. Who is the best person that can just execute on this stuff and save me 3 years of my life learning the strategy?
Yeah. And I got some exciting stuff, because anytime we're on the show, it's like, how do you add value to the people watching? And, like you said, we got some newer agents that were me 4 years ago. And so before hundreds of listings, you look at how do I go out there and just make the living so that way I can keep doing this job? And one of the things that we did at iHomes Colorado is we've trained now over hundreds of agents that had 0 experience or are failing in their first year, right? And so we went from, that first team had about, 17 closings, their first year. But now we still average, 65% of the people who've come through our kind of first month onboarding, right, are still doing real estate 2 years later, because now we have the data, right? It's 4 years down the road. Now you could start looking at, and even when you look at some of these amazing, people that have come through and went out and started their own brokerages, we got these guys at Compass Real Estate in Colorado. They all started with us, and now they're out there kind of running that SEAL 6 team. We got these guys that branched off there. They're just crushing the luxury game, B1 real estate. And then just this guy the other day got, an announcement because he was in the top 100 of Berkshire. And so I always explain to people, we have a proven model on how to get you good, right? You have to then have a mentor to get great. And that's kind of the part where when you look at the 90-day mastery program, or the people that actually get to be close in my relationship, right, to help really kind of what I'm excited for the podcast today around, how do we need to diverse as broker owners, but never forget, and it's why I spend 2 hours a day every day with newer agents, I never want to forget what it's like being them. You know what I mean? Because they're having to do things differently today. And so, you know, the importance of a mentor, this is what I would always say, and Dennis, I love how he talks about it, is just authentic authority. Like, have they done it? And so Josh, when I was looking around, I was like, okay, I'm getting spammed by everybody who's saying they got a coaching program or a mentor. And so then what I did was I watched your podcast, and dude, you had Grant Cardone on it, right? Like, that one's got like 30,000 views still, right? That YouTube podcast, you know what I mean? Then all of a sudden, you know, I saw this guy, you know, when I was trying to learn Facebook, and, you know, Dennis, you on there, and all of a sudden I'm like, man, this guy Joshua Smith is obviously with the right people. But then you follow your history in real estate, but then you follow the people you taught, right? I was just watching Chris Igo, you know what I mean, on his cold calls at 7 a.m. in the morning. But dude, that guy, he talked to me after the first time I was on your podcast, because he was like, I want to start selling a lot of listings, you know? And I was like, dude, the 90-day mastery program. And he's been one of your, you know, great alumni partners, you know, through that. And look at that guy now, man. He's out selling 6-7 listings. He's the loudest dude on Facebook down there in Florida. And so really, I always just have to say is, don't get sold based off the opinions. Don't get sold based off sexiness. You have to go where the facts are. And the truth is, you get what you pay for. So if you try to get a $99 program, it's going to, you know, be a 99-cent, you know, career. You get a good program that, you know, high value content, low cost, like you give. It's just, the difference is it doesn't just teach you the systems and processes. It's now then those behaviors on every aspect. And that's what I loved is most of the agents that I teach in the beginning, the last 4 years, you know, I didn't teach them for sell by owners. And they're out there selling, you know, on average 1 a month, because you didn't have to go attack for sell by owners. You didn't have to attack expireds. But the difference is, when I closed hundreds of homes, I had to go attack those, because to go from 12 to 24 to 36 to 48 a year, right, you have to have a mentor, a mastery program. And that's what I would say, you know, from what I try to help everybody with, which is, you know, somewhat of, you know, free value around here. You're doing the right things for this business. Because like you said, I think the challenge with most real estate agents, they get systems, they get processes, but they don't have good, you know, human beings are predictable, right? And so they don't predict their business well, meaning they don't have short-term strategies. They don't have long-term strategies. Because like you said, I love what you said, man. I didn't go chase the splits, right? I chased the right mentor. And I think, you know, that's a hard one though, because I say it with, you know, level of mindfulness is, you know, these agents, man, they're out there, and if they don't have a mentor, they don't have somebody who cares about them, it's hard not to go chase the split, right? Because it saves you today. But the difference is, man, without a training program, without some type of repeatable excellence, there's no way that you ever have it tomorrow. And so hopefully that kind of explains a little bit more, because it's a step-by-step process when you go through those 90 days. And you always explain, it might not, you know, it's going to help an average agent. But if you want to be a top agent, you go into mastery programs, man. And I can't say thank you enough. You know, I'm partnering a lot with Dennis, you on a lot of things right now, and I wouldn't be talking to him if I didn't watch your podcast. You know what I mean? And so it's also the relationships you build in that.
Yeah, no, it's so important, dude. You know, I mean, I spend about $200,000 a year, just over north of $200,000 a year on coaches and consultants. And, you know, you look at like where I'm at today, you know, right? And I hire the best I can. So like next week, you know, I'm out with Darren Hardy, who's one of my coaches and mentors. And you look at Darren Hardy, like I can't necessarily have access to the people I really want access to. Like I can't sit down, not saying that might sound bad, right? I mean, like, what I mean, like I would love, let's just say to sit down and have lunch with Jeff Bezos, or I mean, anybody would, right? But dude, I'm never going to get on that, or at least for some time, maybe on that dude's radar, right? He's so fucking busy, like, you know, but I can get access to the guy that has access to them. Right. And Darren Hardy is, you know, interviewed and knows and networks with, you know, more successful billionaires than you know, he's the modern day Napoleon Hill, right? Published a Success magazine and stepped down recently, but same thing, right? So, but then, you know, you get in those rooms too. I'm the ant in the room. Like I'm with the CEO, like the mastermind I'm going to next week, CEO and founder of Brenner's Warehouse, which is now a $1 billion company. I get David Liniger, you know, that's in there. I mean, you got like everybody's like worth 9 figures. I'm like, you know, this little peon, but you want to be in those rooms. You want to be the smallest fish, right? Yeah. You know, but then from there, it's like, you know, then when it comes to my systems and automation, and again, guys, this is where it really comes to because the question I always get, dude, I'm sure you always get the same question too, is like, man, how do you get it all done? Right? And it's like, I don't get it all done by myself, right? Like, hey, I might have an amazing team, right? But I need an amazing team outside of just my employees and staff. Like, you need that kind of like board, right? Of board members. And, so, like I work with 6th Division, Brad Martineau, who is, his brother is the co-founder of Infusionsoft. And, Brad helped him start Infusionsoft and ended up splitting off and creating his own company called 6th Division, which is all, ties with Infusionsoft. But he's the best dude on the freaking planet when it comes to automation, with any type of like, you want to automate any element of your business with Infusionsoft or really any CRM, he's the best of the best. Yeah, right. So you just got to go out to that. That's the ultimate hack, dude. And time is the thing that we just can't screw around with, especially in today's day and age, which I guess will just lead us into kind of what we talked about off air that we were really excited to talk about into this interview, is how fast we have to adapt. Right. So one of my best friends in real estate, Leo Pareja, who was the #1 KW agent in the world. Now he's the co-owner of Remine. Smartest dude I know in real estate. My guy's freaking brilliant, right? Anytime you're around the guy, like I always feel like I'm leveling up when it comes to time and being efficient. He's next world. I mean, it just blows my mind, but it's just about speed. But when I see him, he used to not be that way, right? When we were both just team leaders, whatever. But he's, like I said, dude, like he's the smartest guy I know in real estate. Like, dude, like any question you have, because he also owns the largest private lending practice on the entire East Coast. So he knows money, knows software, knows markets, knows real estate as good as any human being out there. But he knows how to pivot, man. And the dude is, he's proven that he can pivot. And when I observe his behavior, I'm like, dude, this is the guy that gets it. Right, he sees how fast with change and technological growth isn't linear; it's exponential, right? So we got to level up harder than ever. So with that being said, man, like, what are the things that you've done? So in your last interview, we talked, and you kind of did the intro here about that too. Of within 4 years, going from brand new agent, left your job, you and a buddy. So it wasn't even like a team of two. Like, you didn't have staff. Like, it was just a buddy that you decided to partner with and just split the pot. So you got two brand new realtors starting out, if you will, to within less than 4 years, 50 plus agent company, also owning a mortgage company, all of these things. What have you done since the last podcast? Right. And let's maybe, I'll let you take the reign with it. We can go on this route, whichever route you want to go, whether it's talking about other revenue sources or talking about systems and automation and technology. But what are the things that you've done between that time and are doing right now that are allowing you just to operate at this fast speed and hopefully even faster, right?
Yeah. One of the things, so when we started our company, we founded it off of, the danger report that came through, the National Association of Realtors. And it said the #1 threat in the industry, and this was back in 2014, right? 2015, is that the #1 threat was the marginal agent. So we said, all right, let's just hire brand new agents. No other brokerage wants to take brand new people. They say, if you have 1 year, 2 year experience, then come to us. And so that's really where those stats came, that, hey, if you were new and we've taken hundreds of people through and now they've gone and started their teams, they've started brokerages. So we've got statistics to say, hey, this is the best place to start your real estate career. But then what ended up happening is it's kind of like when you teach people to be good, in a way they got to eventually go get theirs, right? Meaning, I need to level up in some way. And so we needed to figure out how do we go about doing that. So what we actually did was we said, we don't have enough people coming in the pipeline. I think recruiting is probably one of the toughest things for most, real estate teams. And the challenge with, we started a team 4 years ago, but teams starting today have so much more challenges. Like I said, from, our Zillow leads cost us $30 to now they cost, $350 to, Facebook leads were pennies. Nobody was on Facebook, when we first started. And then now, it's an ad spam everywhere you go, right? So one of the things that we did was we realized we needed to start really leveling up in our entrepreneurship. So we started a real estate school. So just about 4 months ago, we actually started our real estate school. We got about 10 to 20 people coming through a month now, right? And Josh, we got about a 90% conversion. The best part is we have them go interview. You know what I mean? Hey, go check out these other places. I wish I could remember the guy on your podcast, but we had just a normal team compensation model when we first started. And then I watched one of your podcasts, this guy was like, I got like 22 comp plans, because everybody, eventually their business is independent contractors, right? Like you got to give them these things. And so I'm excited to talk about some of the relationships that we ran into that, you know, hopefully it helps some of the newer agents or some of the people that are, you know, team leaders, because we kind of point them in, you know, some of my mentors too, you know, but we started kind of a leveling up system to where, you know, you could start out part-time to then get to full-time. You know, we kind of have this referral system that maybe I'll pop back on the podcast in a year to see if that kind of works, because it's similar to, you know, what Open Door and Zillow's kind of doing with their Buyer Flex program with just the public, right? Teachers, nurses, you know what I mean? That then, you know, but they have to get licensed to go through that kind of referral process. And so we started the real estate school, man, which is getting us about 10 to 12 new agents a month. And so that one is huge. If I was a, you know, newer team leader, go get into your real estate schools. It's what we did last year to kind of go from like 20 to 60. We had a great recruiter who's now an agent, so happy for him. You know, he's closing lots of homes. But now having the school, we're able to do the marketing. We're able to actually teach them the content, start getting them, you know, inundated with kind of our model. But then after that, right, is we kind of have a, you know, a level up system to where, you know, everybody's kind of working towards 100% model in a way, you know? And so when you think about, you know, the challenges we all have is, well, why do you become an independent brokerage? Why do you start, you know, doing these things? Is, man, with the amount of disruption, with the flat free fees, the iBuyers, you know, all of this, you know, stuff that's going on with national, you know, lead portals, is you got to make sure that you are able to kind of control your money. And the difference is, our foundation starts with the successful team. I think almost, you know, 80 to 90% of agents probably need to stay on a team for a very long time, maybe 3 to 5 years. You know what I mean? The problem is a lot of times they kind of jump off that team and then they end up doing less production than they did before. And so, you know, one of the things that, you know, we've kind of, when you look at like additional revenue streams and other things, is all of this over the last 4 years was done with no marketing, right? Meaning we were just internal. You know, word of mouth, you know, family member, friends, you know, individuals going out and talking, you know, when they go to conferences and stuff about how they love their brokerage. And so I don't get to say thank you enough to my team. You know, I appreciate you having me on the podcast. And I love these people so much. And you know what it's kind of like, right? When you start scaling your business, they get less of your time, you know, and so people start feeling like something's different somewhere. Whereas what you're really trying to do is make sure that something's different for them, which is that they're starting to see success. And you know, we definitely have been a great place for people to go learn how to actually implement business systems. And so when you start looking at short and long-term strategies, you know, what lead providers are good for certain models for teams and companies. And this comes from my background of managing multi-unit P&Ls is, you know, everything's black and red, but there's a behavior, right? Like a why in the middle of all of it, that you kind of want to run a company, you know, no different than get shit done. I mean, that's like, it means something to you. I mean, that's the culture that you have. And I'm actually down at Quicken Loans today because I figured, you know, as we move into those revenue streams, this is their book of ism, right? And so they got all this stuff around their culture, and, you know, every brokerage, you know, team, they kind of have to figure out what that culture is. And so when you say, hey, you know, from last podcast to this podcast, is we're actually now ready to start, you know, this national side, but also this local side of, you know, sharing our ownership now, right? You know, you look at, you know, a decision rights, but profitability, we're looking for, you know, future partners, future owners, you know, managing brokers, and of course, a crap load of agents now that we actually have, you know, that system and process. And when I say a crap load, I just mean because we're at 60, but we're ready to be at 600. The difference really is those owners and partners that can kind of absorb, and we have some really high level people coming from outside industries that really manage, you know, regional P&Ls and, you know, regional portfolios of P&Ls. And I'm excited for them to kind of come on because we actually call it like a business in a box, right? So what I'm finding is a lot of agents are jumping to a team too fast, meaning I'm now the team leader and I've been doing real estate for a year. You know, you got to be cautious with that, right? Because I always say, hey, leadership lasts. How are those people doing 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now? And this is kind of, you know, like we were talking offline, I hope every team leader, and broker owner has a healthy level of worry right now, because there's a lot of disruption in our industry. And I mean, when we talked, 18 months ago to the people I interviewed as mentors 4 years ago, they would have never dropped below 3% for a listing, right? Like, it was like, hey, how do you handle that objection? I tell them that's not negotiable. That doesn't work anymore. I got top Remax guys, other people that are like, hey, you got to just make sure you're profitable and walk away from business with a lot of this competition is tough. And so that business in a box, we actually call it like the 3 Ds, right? So we partnered, like you were just saying, hey, I got these mentors and other things. Well, I owe so much credit to the 90-Day Mastery Program, because when you go to the alumni events, I mean, you meet a lot of people, right? And they introduce you to people. And so when I watched the podcast with Dennis Yu, right, I went, and took his, mastery business program. He talks about these 9 triangles, right? And while I was there, I'll get there in a second, I met these guys who, work with Axiom and data companies, right? So one of the things is, I hope this helps some newer agents who are struggling with cost, is, have you ever seen like what Zillow's CRM does, like what type of marketing they send out to consumers?
No.
All right, so every month I'm enrolling in Zillow right now as a lead, because I want to see what they're sending me, right? So I would tell every new agent, because rip off and duplicate good old Tom Ferry, right? I mean, what does Zillow send to customers? And guess what they're sending? They send open house updates, coming soon updates, just listed, and just sold. And now what's happening, right, is when people actually claim their own listing, then they have access to the owner for a long period of time. And so we partner with these guys at A-Type Data. And, it's up to you, but when you send out that link, I got a link that we could send to them. They have an amazing real estate package of names and numbers, just like Cole Realty resources, right? But so I started testing their leads about 6 months ago, and man, the conversion is ridiculous. But I'm just taking owner lists of names and numbers, right? And instead of door knocking, I kind of call it phone knocking, right? I start with the exact same script that Zillow uses in their emails with the, Josh, congratulations, I got some exciting news about the neighborhood. John and Tina over at 1255 Dexter Street just sold their home. Do you know that this home is going to impact the home value positively for you? Have you received your most recent updated home value? And all of a sudden they go, no. And you go, cool, well, would you like me to go ahead and send you your most recent home value? And they go, yes. And then you just say what email you want me to send that to. And now you're collecting emails, because that's the money that emails cost a lot for data, right? When you try to buy that stuff. So just starting with names and numbers, and it works for open houses though, it works for coming soons. Do you have anybody in the neighborhood might be interested before this home comes on the market? No, I don't. Okay, well, just, when this home closes, it's most likely going to positively impact the value of your home, Josh. Would you like me to send you your most recently updated home value? Sure. Okay, what email you want me to send that to? And then once you get an email, it's kind of like good qualification. But if I was a new agent, man, I would buy these data leads and I would just crush them with Mojo Dialer. Because the cost of the Zillow leads back in the day, I mean, I'll probably have a couple dozen listings just because hitting these in January, February, March, April, May, you know what I mean? People start talking about once you actually get their email. Now you could just say, okay, well, make sure I send you an accurate home value. Have you done any updates to the home since you've owned it? And if they let you flow into a pre-listing script, dude, that's a person who's thinking about something in the future. They just need to know how much, their home's worth, right? And so the data side, I think that a lot of people, when they, you kind of go old school door knocking, dude, data is the future, right? We got access to everything. $1 million listings, you can collect data. So that way, I mean, you got an awesome Facebook course. Everybody should go take that Facebook course, because you use that data for your custom audiences. And now, man, it's a different world now that we play in to kind of take over a neighborhood, right? I mean, think about what were some of the things you did when you first started?
Open houses, dude, which is still the quickest way to now money. And they just get better, man. Like my top performing agent right now in open houses, who she'll have been in the business for January, March, her 6th month. And she netted after splits just over 30 grand. Just slayed it, dude. And she's converting 1 out of 10 right now in open houses. Yeah. Well, I mean, 1 out of 10 leads. Yeah. But it's just like you talk about, it's leveling up, dude. The way I did open houses before aren't the way that we do them now. And it's just like Facebook, man. I mean, Facebook has changed Actually, I've been in this seat for at this point right now for about 32 hours, right? Like I didn't sleep last night. I'm in same clothes, whatever. Like, dude, I spent 12 hours and pulled all-nighter, just resetting up of all of our face campaigns. We've been working on this new strategies for a long time and reconfiguring it. And, we're getting insane results with this stuff, but what worked 2 years ago doesn't work today. Yeah, right. So leveling up, like you said, whether it's where you get your data source, how you approach it. Like I got a good buddy of mine that is just murdering it with expireds right now. No calling, right? So he'll run a Facebook ad that'd be like, hey, notice that your home just expired. He, adds into a custom audience. Notice your home expired. If you'd like to know, or if you'd like to know why, and receive a custom in-depth video of the exact specific reasons of why your home didn't sell and what you need to do in the future if you do want to sell your home in the future, click here, no pressure, no hassle, promise you won't, no spam, blah, blah, blah. So they click that, and then he just goes into like he uses Vidyard, but it's just like a Loom, right? Where it's his camera on the angle, but he actually pulls up their listing, pulls up all the data, right? And does a live walkthrough with, okay, this picture was wrong, this was wrong, well, this comp here, like maps out specifics. And then he shoots him that text, right? He's like, hey, here's your video. If you have any questions, let me know. Also, if you're thinking about relisting your home, whether now or in the future, I'd love an opportunity to interview for the job. I'm not asking for your listing, because I promised you I'm not going to ever, pressure you or beg you for your business or spam you. But I'm a true professional. I sell 85 homes a year. I'm the top agent in town. If you want your home sold, I can get the job done. Let me know. Hope this is helpful, right? But then you can see if they click it, how much they've watched of it, all that's tracked, and it puts into a follow-up campaign. And dude, we just hung out in when was it? Like, I don't know, I think it was sometime in January. Dude, and he like listed, I don't know, like 12 homes or something like that just in January. And it was like mid-January, right? With it. So, it's just being smarter about how we do business. But this is where kind of our earlier conversation is, dude, you got to level up on mastery, right? And I don't think most people grasp what that means. Right. Yeah, right? Like where you're at now, dude, when you're talking about P&Ls and, actually, I don't know if you've heard of this company, dude. You should check into them. It's called T360.
Yeah.
Did you see the podcast with Dean on?
No.
Okay, so I just had him on the podcast. So he's now
Yeah.
He's my personal coach now. I just started with next week is our first official start date for the year program. But this dude was head within our team rheology for a couple decades, right? And overseeing like the whole entire East Coast. Big operations, tons of acquisitions, and they've got it down to a science, based on, and it's not one size fits all. It's based on what your model is, what your vision is, what your model is, and the game that you want to play, right? But then based on that, with your model, and what your margins need to be, right? Then from there, you reverse engineer it. Like they know exactly with their model. They will reverse engineer of exactly how many square feet per agent. Like when do you expand? Where do you go? How do you know, if you do acquire something to fold it in, right? Like, breaking every element of it down. Like coming back to Facebook, this is just an example. Not telling people to do Facebook, but like, look, dude, you're like you said, R&D, right? So you're doing nothing different than maybe you used to do in the past. You're just doing it much more methodically, more intentional, and smarter. Right? So if you look at like Facebook, most agents most agents never track, which is the biggest problem, right? Like, you got to track your data and know your numbers, right? You got to know that cost per acquisition. And you got to eliminate the waste, right? When you said earlier, these agents that would never discount, right? Or agents like, I can't fathom going to our commission's getting cut in half and how it can be operational. I'm like, well, it's because you suck at real estate. Like you might be a great realtor. You suck at business is what I should say. They can't fathom it because they don't know where the waste is. Right? So if for the 5% that do track out there, it's like they're tracking probably their cost per lead, how many leads they're getting, how many leads it takes to get a closing, so they know their cost per acquisition, right? But then from there, it's like, dude, you need to be screenshotting every single ad, somehow having, using something like Wicked Reports or screenshotting this stuff, or have a CRM like Perfect Storm where it can do this for you. But then when this deal closes from that Facebook ad or that lead, like, the exact picture. So you got the campaign, the ad set, and the ad within the ad set. So then I know, based on that time frame that they came in, I know the exact image, right? I know the exact copy, where they landed on what the landing page was, right? What the audience was, what the ad set was. Yeah, right? I was just showing my video editor right before we jumped on this podcast. We had a meeting, and was going through and I'm teaching them a bunch of, like we're having to study all of our, like I'm making him study all of our Facebook campaigns and ROI on it. So then he can start studying how to enhance, like, okay, well, we know that this type of ad, this type of photo, this type of audience converts at its best. How do we enhance that stuff and take it to the next level on that audience, right? But I showed him one, like I showed him this, like I pulled this ad set, and it was like, I don't know, $4.50 cost per lead, looked good. Cost per acquisition was pretty good overall. But then we got into the ad inside the ad set, which I had like 8 different, between images and photo and copy split tests in the ads in the ad set, right? Then I showed him, I was like, look, that looked good, but when you come in here, there's $1,500 worth of waste. Right. But that becomes the difference. Right. And those that are watching, listening, it's like dudes like me and Justin, like we are obsessing over how do we get our admin from having 2 mouse clicks down to 1. Yeah. Right. Like, hey, instead of copy and pasting these email templates, how do we just email in this one system, and then it automatically fires off, burns the notes, records it, and gets sent to all the parties, right? Just all those obsessions, right, which allow us to scale, allow our margins to be better, allow us to offer better splits or whatever than other people. And, it's a whole different world.
It is. You brought up a lot, and it's funny because a year ago when I watched the podcast, and, this will transition into, I'll pull Jack over here and talk more about the mortgage side, because I think a lot of team leaders, people will be excited about it. But so when I watched the podcast and saw Dennis Yu, he talked a lot about, the real funnels, right? From an awareness at the top. And so too many times you're just running an ad, right? Instead of, a why video, a 1-minute video, something that's really, more about getting people to know who you are so they can remember a little bit. To then, once they start trusting a little bit, they're on that consideration level. And then you really run your ads, right? To really convert, really strong qualified leads, because you got these people kind of in your funnel. And so he broke down a business mastery. So just like your guy said that you're going to for the business help, is that he's got this, and it's how to grow an agency, but it's identical to a real estate agency. And he's got 9 triangles, right? And there's really 3 of them, from, I think, most real estate agents, team leaders, business owners, they struggle because they don't really have strategy, meaning my goal should align with the content I'm putting out. So what is your goal for whatever that Facebook ad? And that's the type of content. Now the targeting part, this is where I think I racked my brain forever, right? Meaning like spending tens of thousands of dollars, hiring third-party companies on Facebook, all these things, watching yours over and over every month to see like, all right, does he have something new this week? But really, when you look at like the insights on your business manager and you just go to all your videos, so you take a newer agent who's just posting a lot, they don't have money like we have to spend per se, right? So you hit your insights in business manager, you go to videos, and you just go over, and I know Facebook changes stuff every day, but you start seeing which ones actually have good reach, which ones have good engagement. And Dennis Yu has an amazing course that I took called, Facebook for $1 a day. And so what it's more about is like posting a ton of content and boosting everything for $1, and then finding and measuring, right? So, hey, based on those metrics, let's analyze it. Then let's take action on the right post. And it's kind of like you were saying, from campaigns to ads, ad sets, right? Is how are we going to make sure that we're putting the right money behind things? And that's one of those. I know he puts out a ton of free content because it's like his why is to create, jobs for young entrepreneurs. And so that's a great place to start for newer agents, because $1 a day you can play. But Vegas, right, when you go all in, is all of a sudden now, right, you're done with Facebook ads forever. And you said it perfectly, man. Like our third D for kind of like that business in a box, it's really, making sure you have access to data, because just like the open houses is, well, when I run an open house, now I can personally call all those homes in that little circle and run those scripts like we were talking about. Then you also have, hey, from the digital side, now I can actually target those areas based off of people who recently visited a neighborhood. And you just start with low dollar amounts, but really where you start thinking about, where do you then take that into, the big dollars? Because I think newer agents, if they play safe, but they play with mastery, right? Meaning they know what they're doing. They seek, engineers, great people like you, then you can get into what we ended up doing, which was we grew so fast that we couldn't keep a mortgage team to grow with us, right? And so now our clients started getting bad service. And so we've been talking a lot about a ton of things, but this is the one that's kind of national scale, real excited, from a local scale for business partners, owners, from big team leaders. We got a lot of people that we're talking to right now. And I'm down here at Quicken because, they really are excited. I'll let Jack actually talk about it. But the real dollars, right, is when you start looking at leveling up. But this is, too many people will do it just for the money, right? What you have to do it is because I want to do it because I want to make sure my client gets amazing experiences. So my business partner, he runs the entire mortgage side. I run the real estate relationship with the mortgage side. And we got, a processor over there her name's Chanel, man. She is amazing, dude, can process 20, 30 loans a month. We got a couple loan officers who, man, they answer their phones late at night. They call, listing agents the minute before the offer is submitted, but they know the type of offer. They know real estate language. So imagine a lender, obviously not talking real estate, but structuring their scripts to help win offers. And not only that, but our average loan to close time, I think, was like, hey, Jack, come here. Our average loan to close time, how many days was our average loan to close time?
I think we're running about 12 days right now, 12.3 days.
Dude, 12.3 days. So imagine when you can take your real estate team. So when we talk about disruption, cash deals, good offers, dude, they'll take a 12-day FHA loan all stinking day because that's like cash, right? And so, one of the things that we're really excited about is we started an independent mortgage company, and now we're working on the wholesale side. But the disclaimer I always give to everybody is the amount of legal, meaning the amount of lawyer work that you better spend to make sure that you're in compliance with RESPA, you know what I mean? Because a lot of places don't even allow dual, agency anymore. You can't do a loan and a home at the same, Colorado still allows it, right? But at the same time, it has to be legitimate. So you can't just set this up with, like, hey, I really want to make some extra money, so how do we fake the system, which is why I'm down here at Quicken. For me, I just believe that, hey, whether it be Open Door, whether it be Zillow, you need to be partnering with the billion-dollar companies. And so that's kind of what we've done. You were my mentor and always will be. And now we just keep partnering like you're doing as well with these billion-dollar brands, these minds that can help us move from just real estate teams, real estate brokerages to companies in the future. And so, Jack, why don't you share with them a tiny bit about what Quicken's doing? And then he knows all the stats, Josh, on what we're doing. And then I could tell him, answer any other questions you might have. But the reason being is because I still have a singular focus on bringing the real estate team or company into adapting into a mortgage company. And the reason being is because you can't just, your agents aren't just going to give you their deals. They have their other lenders, they have other people, you know what I mean? And so we right now are averaging about 60% of all of our real estate transactions on the loan side. And so when you think about, hey, what does that look like? You're pumping out 20, 25 loans a month, and not only that, but the client experience. All you got to do is go look at our 5-star reviews. Dude, they love it. And Zillow knows that. Quicken knows that. They all kind of got their ABAs and whatnot. So share a little bit about kind of some of what we want to do.
Sure. So appreciate you having me on here as well, Josh. Obviously, excited to be on the podcast. And we've really seen a tremendous amount of success because of the fact that our values align so well. You talk about the ISMS book. You talk about what it is that iHomes and iLoans are all about, which is being the best place to start or restart your career as a real estate agent. Quicken's entire model these days, and on the wholesale side, which is the number one focus of Quicken as a company, is stronger together. That is you'll see it everywhere out there if you start looking into the wholesale space. That's what we believe in, and that's what we're realizing with companies just like iLoans. And that's because what Quicken is good at, the technology, the being in the forefront of that space, the ability to scale in such a massive way, we don't have the reputation and the local presence and the, real power that iHomes and iLoans do, but it's a match made in heaven, because when you work with a company like Quicken Loans that does have the ability to, take whatever you can throw at us. When we started off, we partnered up with iLoans back in April of last year, in their third month as a brokerage, and we started off getting 20% of the real estate transactions at the very beginning.
We wanted to be careful, right? Because you don't want to just implement this into your team because it's not to make money. We didn't want to start a mortgage company, man. I was pissed off about it. I lost my business partner. I had to start working double the amount of hours, right? It literally was just, we went to our lender and said, hey, and now he's a badass lender, though. His name's Andy Jorgensen. You should check him out. But I had to throw a plug in there, Josh. But dude, he just was honest. He's like, man, I only have X, amount of time left in the industry, and I'm not looking to scale with your guys' business. You need to go find another partner. And so it just didn't work out for us. And man, we stumbled across Quicken.
And yeah, man, and that's how it happened. It didn't happen overnight. We didn't start doing 60% of the business together, in month one. But the results speak for themselves. When we started doing business together and realized that, we were going to be such a good fit for each other, because just like Isaac and Mimi and Jeff and the loan officers on your side who were taking those phone calls at 11, 12 o'clock at night, making those calls to listing agents, when they're turning around and getting information from their lender, they're calling me and I'm picking up as well. And that, we've talked later that, that's the ante to play these days. You got to be in a space that is as moving as quickly as the real estate side is now. You can't slow down at all. You got to scale.
And you've had experience, right, with lenders, Josh?
Yeah. And well, we were talking off air about this, but one of my good buddies from that I grew up with in high school, and he's actually still back in Michigan, but is, with Quicken. And, they obviously do loans nationwide. And so all my personal stuff, I go through him with that stuff. And the experience, I look at Quicken as like, they're the Amazon of the loan side, right? I'm always blown away. Best rates out there, and by far, hands down, best customer service, right? And I think as real estate agents, that's so important. I don't think most real estate agents understand, look, that when you have a lender that's able to, help communicate and really explain the process, do a great job. Right. But when you start doing volume, and Justin, you talked about this earlier, of like going from like 4 homes to 12 homes to doing hundreds of homes a year or whatever, it becomes a different game, right? And it's like, man, if I have to chase down a lender for an update on a file to deliver that now to my client, because my client, right, like that bogs down the process so heavily. Right. I can't have that. I can't have a lender like when the update has to be where it needs to be, when I need it, when my client needs it. And in today's day and wage, dude, there's no reason. So I've got 2 loans on a couple of my properties right now with Quicken, with Rocket, and go into their back end portal. And dude, it's the most user friendly, easy process. Closing deals there is, dude, it doesn't get any easier than that. Right? It's. You log, and they've got a systematic process, which, some people, I don't know, some agents may not like it because the standard like agent to LO relationship where you're, like the LO that I've worked with, it's like, dude, literally just would do the app and then I never see him again, right? But it was taken care of smoothly, right? And they have, an assembly line was so efficient, but the realtors that may not like it, I think it's for selfish reasons, right? Of not just having that friendship, if you will, compared to what is the best experience for our clients, right?
Well, I was one of those, right? And I think Jack, he's probably like, so Jack's our account rep, right? So he started with us when it was just like 2 loans, and now, he's pumping out, 25, 30. And, one of the things is that's the retail side. Because when I was a listing agent, I didn't want to take them. You know what I mean? I was like, what do you mean? If it was Chase, if it was I wanted this kind of personal experience where I knew, what was happening. I could talk to that person. And that's kind of where this transition into the wholesale side of the business. And that's what's, mind-blowing for me is the loan officer now. So like, at least for us and kind of some of these partnerships and these brokerages that we're kind of putting together with partners, is that the lender is just, I mean, it's even more intimate than a lender at, you know, a retail place, because of the fact that, well, it's wholesale and they have a relationship with the agent. And I think that's what a lot of our agents love in our office, is the fact that, hey, you can go down, you can talk to the lender, you need a file, you need a question, and boom, you're right back on the phone with your client. And I think you probably have a little bit more feedback on the experience that some of the agents have.
Yeah, absolutely. And to speak to your point, Josh, you're 100% right. And that's why this transition into the wholesale environment that we've made over the last 18 months just makes so much sense, because the things that Quicken is really, really good at are those back-end processes. Everything flows really smoothly. The portal is very easy and user-friendly. You know, the tech is where we really shine. And as opposed to the retail environment where, like you said, you know, you talk to your loan officer, you take your application, and off it goes down the assembly line. On the wholesale side, you're still talking to your loan officer at the brokerage is still handholding it from start to finish. They're using the Quicken process to make that as quick and easy a thing as it can be, but it's not that handoff. It is still, you know, and so the loan officer and the relationship with the real estate agent, none of that's negatively impacted by, you know, the losing control of the process, so to speak. It's just the benefits of working with a company that has the resources and the, you know, desire really to be the front runner in that space without the drawbacks. So it really has. It's just been a match made in heaven, and that's why, you know, we've seen the kind of growth and success that we have in the last.
Yeah. So then, you know, I mean, most of our listeners are you know, badass producers and seasoned agents, and you know, I'm guessing that most of them had experience with Quicken. And I don't know if you don't do a loan with them personally, like I know what it's like from the consumer side, and it's great, you know, right? Maybe, you know, I'm assuming it's great on the agent side as well, but let's kind of pivot though into the power of you know, creating these other revenue sources, right? You know, because it's one of these things, like if you look at a brokerage, it's like, dude, you're not going to get rich off of commission, you know, whatever your transaction fee is, you know, right? Like, I mean, a great brokerage off just company dollar coming in, which would be the split of the transaction or the fee, you know, is like a 5 to 10% margin, you know, right? So like 10%, like you bring in a million of GCI, you net 100 grand, you know, right? And that, of course, you're paying a lot out to agents. So, you know, so margins can get thin, you know, right? With that, but the big money is in strategic partnerships, ancillaries, and if you look at all of the businesses out there, you know, right? Like if and I'm just sharing this, I know you guys know this, but for our listeners, you know, right? But it's like, okay, like go to the movies, right? So we went and saw, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, we went and saw the I can't remember what it's called, the Akita Warrior, whatever, the kids movie, and it's a dope movie, by the way. Just can't remember the name. So maybe it wasn't that dope, but it's fine. But we go there and you spend your, you know, I got a family of 5. We spend our, you know, let's just say $40 on tickets, but then we go there, dude. We get the big popcorn, everybody gets sodas. We drop another $70 on the concessions. Yeah, right? Like I go jump on an airplane.
Yep.
I bought my plane ticket. That gets me from point A to point B. But to make it a better experience, have a couple cocktails, might get some food, might get the entertainment package. I'm always buying Wi-Fi, you know, right? Then they upsell me, yeah, right, through that. And, you know, Justin and I both come from the health club world, and health clubs are very similar, right? It's like the EFT base coming in kind of just puts you where you're not starting at 0 each month, right? And then all the other ancillaries, from locker rentals to retail to you know, group personal training to one-on-one training to, you know, right? That is where the true profitability is. And the example I was using is Jimmy John's. You know, like Jimmy John's is like a, you know, worth a few $100 million or whatever. So I guess they weren't doing bad, but you know, he realized at one point, he's like, hey man, we can't just be in the franchise business. Like we have to not buy our bread and supplies from Heinz. We've got to distribute all that, create all of that, sell it to our franchisees at a better rate than Heinz can get it. So they're more profitable, but then it's that more revenue sources for us. So they took everything in house, and that's what skyrocketed them to a multi-billion-dollar company. And then going back to the health clubs, you look at Planet Fitness, which is the #1 franchise in the Planet and the health club space. Yeah, right, dude. I mean, they have to use the everything in there is owned by Planet Fitness, from the rubber flooring to the mirrors to the POS software. Yeah, right. It's so I know they're not on a really personal level. It's kind of a family friend. But the franchise attorney that crafted the franchise for Planet Fitness, one of the top franchise attorneys on the planet, and he got bought out of, they couldn't afford him when they started the franchise, and so they offered him ownership, and then he decided he went out a couple of years ago and got bought out and started his own franchise called Rock and Jump, which is in California and soon go nationwide, and they're like those trampoline, foam pits, whatever, and it's a franchise, but he's like, look, the moral of the story is you never start a franchise without having back in ancillary services. That's where you make your money. He's like, where do you think I make my money? It's not the franchise fee. Yeah, right? Where he makes his most money is the freaking socks. He's like, the socks that the kids have to wear, right? He's like, I buy them from China for, I don't know, 25, 50 cents. Sell them to the franchise owner for, $2.50, $3.50. They sell them to the end consumer at $6.50. The parents buy a new set every time they want to come in. Right? Look at Gary Keller, $160 million a year on just E-Edge. He ain't making money on the franchise fees. Right? It's all the other shit, So with that being said, talk about, you got the experience, and I think we can all grasp that, but talk about the importance of, these other revenue sources coming in and, what you guys are doing. I don't know if you have visions for other revenue sources as well.
Yeah. So there's a couple, I hope to be on the podcast in a year. I got a really big thing I can't leak yet, but it is towards that kind of referral play that these, big companies are doing. I think just more on a local level, based on the fact that we're operated as a team. But when you look at, this is the challenge, Josh, is that many people would watch this and they're going to say, man, that's a lot, 20, 25, you know what I mean? Remember, our loan officers are making a lot of money. We want to make them high paid. But at the end of the day, the only reason why the mortgage company exists, truly, are the why, is to get deals done right for the agent. You know what I mean? And so, you can't just go into it for, but you do, like you said, is look, if you're not growing or scaling your business, you can never exit from it. You know what I mean? So over 4 years, I've been able to exit from being the realtor, exit from being, just a kind of broker owner to now, a multi-unit owner. And the thing with it, though, is I don't think it can be done without partnerships, meaning you can only go so far as an individual, right? And then the other part is you can only do one thing great. It's why I have Jack here to talk, is just because there's so many things that we put together. And when you say kind of like, hey, how do you do this, is, like I said, we're looking for future partners and owners, because the fear of some of this too, like what people don't understand about like the ancillary side of the mortgage company is if you screw up loans, you have to pay commissions back. Right? If you screw up with Dora on real estate, they slap you on the wrist and say you have to do 20 hours of continued education or something, right? I mean, with loans, it's jail time. You know what I mean? It's buying back entire loans that people, default within 6 months in certain ways, and they find out that you didn't do everything you were supposed to. And so really what it comes down to is making sure that you got these kind of, if I was going to say, hey, this business in a box, you know what I mean? You got to have partnerships with data companies so you can get leads at low cost. You know what I mean? You got to make sure the partnerships with Zillow, the national brands, right? Quicken, things like that. Think about what our lead engagement cost is on Facebook when you got an image that also has powered by Quicken. You know what I mean? Like, it's so much different, you know what I mean? For VA leads, nurse leads. And so that then you can transfer over. But what it comes down to is, we're going to be doing some partnerships that they've structured because we have a pinnacle relationship, a direct line to the VP here, so then that way other teams can get on board with something like this without having to do what we did, which was exit your company, right? Because if you got a great real estate thing going, like you said, you're just trying to supplement income, but at the same time, you want to do it right, because if you do it wrong, you harm not only your leadership as a real estate coach, you know what I mean, or employee broker owner, because now your agents know the only reason why you did a mortgage company was for money. So I think it's once you start getting a team that functions well, let me ask you real quick, when did you know you could step away from your team to do these things that you do?
It was about 4 years into it. That's when I came to the realization that I wanted to. Right, my first 4 years, because dude, I didn't get in the business to grow a real estate business. I got in the business, dude, to make some money so I could go open up my own health club. I mean, this whole thing was supposed to be a stepping stone. And
I know your story.
I always say that, I was 23 years old, college dropout, and I needed $800,000 to start this gym. And I always say that the health club industry is my passion. Real estate became my obsession. And but in the beginning, dude, it was just money, right? And I was making the money. Yeah, right. 4 years into it, dude, ended up having a big year, netted 780 that year. But I'm working, dude, like 4 a.m. to midnight, like sleeping at, pulling all-nighters, not seeing my, newborn daughter, and dude, I just hit a massive capacity, and I just, dude, I was over it, right? I mean, I was ready to quit, leave everything, and go back to making 40, 50 grand a year at the gym, right? I wasn't regional like you. I was just the manager of a few mom and pop facilities. So it wasn't a lot of money, at least where I was at in that space. But dude, that's how miserable it was. But what the mistake I made is I never thought about what is the lifestyle like entrepreneurship isn't a job, it's a lifestyle, right? And you got to be willing to live a certain lifestyle to create something that then allows you to create this other lifestyle. So I had to map out like, what did I want this to look like? And that's when I became really systems-based, process-based, and knew I wanted to exit. But just like we've always talked about, dude, it came down to the tracking and took another 4 years to do it for me. I mean, the market had boomed, busts, and I was so tied in with REO at that point that I could not be involved. They wouldn't talk to anybody else but me, and certain relationships, and but that was just it's just like recruiting agents and like knowing with let's just say my expenses were $30,000 a month, right? And I knew to exit, like I came up with a base amount. So for me, I live pretty frugally, so like taking care of me and my family, like I can live like a king for 20 grand a month, right? Gross, right? So I'm like, all right, so if I can get to myself where I can pay myself a $20,000 monthly salary, that is the threshold where I know it's safe to exit and just focus be a CEO of the company. So, slowly grew the team and my production kind of came down, but I always made sure I netted a certain amount. But as this came up, right, as the true business revenue came up, my job as a realtor was less and less. And over time, it made the transition. But I'd experienced a lot of pain, dude, of before I made the decision that I needed to do that. And then, it's been great ever since, man. I mean, I haven't had to go on a listing presentation or buyer presentation in like 5 years now, man. And Arizona got a new contract like 3 years ago. I haven't even seen it. Yeah. Right. So
I think that's probably one of the important things is when you kind of said like that ancillary side is, well, first you have to go be, let's just say top 10, 20%, in your state, right? Then you can hire some people and, hopefully teach them duplicative processes that aren't like how to just be you, but how to go find success themselves. And I think once you can pay yourself a salary, right, that makes you happy, that you can live off of, and that's different for everybody, right? I don't need a ton of money to be happy. My wife, we've gone through a lot of stuff together as family, and we got 4 kids, and money's not where all my happiness is, but we all like to make money, right? And especially when bad things happen, money does help you through it, And so I think once you can pay yourself a salary that serves, why you kind of, do a team leader, then you're able to kind of walk away because other people are able to find success. But I think in order for you to walk away, and this was my big one, was, when I was the team leader in the mix, our agents averaged 17 closings, brand new agents a year, right? And now they average about 8. But when you look at how many a new agent usually averages, just in our industry, and then the percentage of them that are still doing it 2 years later, that's how I knew I could go focus on some other things. And a lot of that now has to do with actually spending the majority of my time making sure a real estate company is partnering with other people that can keep that company going 5 years from now. And that's why, again, my business partner, Isaac, man, and I thank all of our team, everybody who kind of helps one another too, is he focuses 100% of his time on the mortgage. I focus 100% of time on that. And so now as we bring on these business partners that Quicken's helping us kind of launch these partnerships, is then we can go do that right. And I can help those companies actually merge into, you know what I mean, the mortgage company, because then you really do. And I do believe it's going to be a model that people need to find success. But RESPA and, you know, all the companies out there, I mean, you know, they make sure that you're not doing it just to make money. They're making sure that you're doing it for what's best for the customer. And I think that's what's really exciting, man. And again, it wouldn't have started, you know, if I didn't watch this podcast.
Yeah. Well, and to kind of hit on that point though, too, you know, I mean, I know, and everybody's wired in a different way, you know, right? And just like you, man, I mean, I'm obsessed with the customer experience, and that comes first. My whole entire career, it's, you know, clients before commission checks. And that doesn't mean I'm doing commissionectomies, right? That means that, hey, man, maybe I need this commission check to close to pay my mortgage, but it's in the client's best interest to cancel this deal. I'm telling them to cancel this deal, and I'll figure out my other shit, you know, later, right? So, but I also truly believe in making a lot of money, right? And you know, it just allows you to go out there and have a bigger impact. You know, I've had the pleasure of you know, being able to hang out with and meet and have some in-depth conversations with several billionaires, and even like a Ryan Blair that came on the show, who is one of my favorite serial entrepreneurs of all time. I mean, the dude makes $36,000 an hour, 24/7. I do the math on that, and then, like, I mean, that was before he hit the age of 40. You know, right? The dude was right. But everybody, like, to the rest of, you know, to the mediocre people out there, yeah, they look greedy, dude. I've never met one of them that it's about the money. You know, right? Dude, it's all from leading from a place of contribution. And I heard this story about Gary Keller one time, and I've actually never met Gary. I've never been with Keller Williams, but the dude has done something nobody else has done, so I have massive respect for him. And I heard this story one time that he was having a conversation with his dad, and his dad's like, Gary, like, dude, you're a billionaire, man. Like, well, when are you gonna stop, dude? Like, why do you care about money so much? And Gary says, his dad, he goes, I don't care about money, Dad. He goes, you care about money. All like that, you valued money, and all you cared about was money. I don't care about money. And his dad was like taken back, like it is an insult. And he's like, here, let me explain. The second you had enough money, you quit. You retired. Yeah, right. He goes, this isn't about money. There's no stopping, right? I'm doing my life's purpose. He's like, the orange tree in your backyard is never going to stop producing oranges, no matter how many are littered on the ground and the abundance of them. The orange tree's purpose is to grow oranges and produce fruit until it starts to decay and die. And he's like, I'm living my purpose, right? And that money allows you to go out there and do other things, you know, right? Like, dude, I mean, it costs me like 100 G's a year to run this podcast, you know, right? And I don't make really money off the podcast, right? I guess maybe there's a way that I do with people that listen to buy something, but, you know, most of my acquisitions, right, because we track everything, purchase within 2 to 7 days of an opt-in and being on my list, and that's all cold traffic. They don't even fucking heard the podcast, and that's right. Like some percent of my. So, you know, right, I'd make more money if I didn't do the podcast because I'd be able to focus more time on that. But how am I able to invest that money? It's because I make money in other places where I can give back. You know, right? I'm starting a nonprofit right now. We had a teammate that got shot in the head. He was a part-time Lyft driver in the evening as well, and driving some clients home, and they wanted to go through Jack in the Box, like 2 a.m, got caught in a gang shooting, and he got shot in the head, and he survived, but he's 24/7 care, and like Lyft is taking care of the medical insurance, but he's got young kids. Like they can't, there's no way to take care of them. You know, right? So, you know, like right now we're starting a nonprofit, and it's going to be in his name, like the, you know, Senator O'Connor, you know, kind of a deal for him. To carry his legacy, and hopefully some of his kids that are young right now but can be involved and take over when they're older if they choose to. But it's going to be designed for real estate agents that experience, you know, an extreme tragedy like that or a death, that can help fund and take care of their families and kids' tuitions. And, you know, right? Like, dude, just the attorney work to start something like that process. Yeah, I mean, it's like an 18-month process. And you know, best of the best attorneys. I mean, I'm going to be probably 30, 40 grand deep out of my own pocket to just start this nonprofit and give back to an industry that changed my life. But how am I able to do that? Because I make money in other spaces, right?
You said that's perfect.
You know, I am a fan of making money for sure. And, you know, and you hit the nail on the head with the partnerships. Like I look at my broker owners who are the second fastest private brokerage owners in the whole entire nation, right? So Like in the 4 years I've been with them, they went from 200 agents to 1,700 just here in Phoenix. But dude, they've JV'd with home warranty, home inspection. It's all white labeled, right? But and it doesn't. It's just small pieces of each scratch, but it all adds up. Yeah, right.
It gives people low costs, right? So by having all these partnerships, like our people on our 100% plan have the lowest dues possible. And so it's kind of goes back to, for all of us, right, from a mastery level, is each one teach one, man. We got to care about the people that are coming after us. And money does allow you to do that, right? Because once you find success, you can invest that money in other people. And strategically, you just need to make sure that then where you go invest your money in other businesses. And one of the challenges for me with so many people, and I always look at it as like no bad team, just bad leader, right? Is, you know, it's hard to see 5 years in the future. We've had people leave. They're like, hey, I just don't see the end game, Justen. And I just wish, like, I look at these people 2 years ago, a year ago, today, right? And it's like, man, now, you know, we're in the position to go help all these people start these partnerships, kind of consult them through this, you know, with the power of billion-dollar brands. And I'm excited to go back to a lot of them, but you have to be in it for the long run. You know what I mean? And agents, that's a tough thing for them to just really stick out that kind of 2-year, 5-year plan. But man, like, you know it. And I think every top person that gets to, you know, to be on this podcast and others that aspire to be like those people is you just gotta be consistent. You gotta have a why. You gotta love and obsess over people in the industry. And man, it's a lot of fun. And that nonprofit.
And you gotta be wired the right way. Entrepreneurship isn't for everybody. Most people that get in this space, it's not for them. Like even when I'm talking about the boot camp with somebody that's like, hey, is it for me? And I'm like,
Yes, it is.
for most, it's not. And what I mean by that is, like, you got to be the kind of person that the scariest thing on this planet to you, other than maybe like, you know, a death of a child or something, you know, right, is, you know, not doing everything you can to operate your full potential. Like, you got to, like, wake up, like, I mean, excited, but also, like, pissed off that you're not further ahead. You know, right? Like, I'm pissed off every single day that my net worth isn't $100 million right now at this point in my life. There's no fucking excuse or reason it's not. I'm pissed off every day that it's not there yet, right? And I'm giving myself, like, I've got 2.5 years to hit that benchmark, and I got a long freaking way to go, believe me, right? So, but it's a healthy pissed off, right? But you got to be that person just like that. It wrenches your gut. Like, you can't be cool with average, you know, like just chillaxing on the weekends or happy hours, like that's something that turn off to you, you know, right? You got to want more, you know, and if you're that kind of person, yeah, I mean, you got to have patience and consistency with it. And so real quick, because I got a couple other things I want to ask you, and I know we're going long on time, but as you guys are rolling this out, because it sounds like you guys are partnering with other broker owners and team leaders and other all throughout the country on the loan side. I don't know if it's also on the real estate side, but the loan side. So let's just say, for example, I'm here in Arizona. I was like, all right, you guys, I want to talk about a strategic partnership with you guys on the loan side. Like, what does that look like? Where does somebody get started with that conversation? And kind of walk us through the process?
You know, yeah, and we've actually had a couple of them. It starts obviously with Justen Martin. I got a public figure page or a personal page or my email or telephone number, and I'll have you put all that in there. It also then connecting people with, Jack here. And so then that way we've already gone through with our legal team how to do this. So one of the things is, like you said, $40,000 to start a nonprofit. It costs a lot of money if you have something good on the real estate side to make sure you do everything right on the mortgage side. And then the other part with that is the amount of money invested to get to a pinnacle relationship to where you actually have this special relationship to be able to do 12-day loans, to have, what's our rate discount?
You guys are part of the top 1% of Quicken partnerships, so you guys do get, advantageous pricing that our other partners don't get.
Right.
Accurate?
Yep. And so, from a pricing perspective, so it's just usually a 3-step process, Josh. Conversation first, to better understand, are we good partners? Because sometimes it won't work for some people. If they don't have the right business model to implement this, it's not worth our time. The second one, right, then is usually a run through of the business. And this is really kind of goals, content targeting, actually looking at metrics, analysis, action, like, hey, do you have the ability to do this? Because some people don't, right? And that's where then we have kind of a full turnkey, Next one's just an operating agreement that's already structured. You know what I mean? It's a very simple process. So a lot of people can be plug and play, 90 days, 6 months, turnkey. And we have the processors. We got, the loan officers. And then the thing I'm most excited about, and then, like I said, I got business partners who will be coming on from some past businesses to really take this, because we're really not looking national yet, but we will probably over the next 6 months. And obviously with the help of Quicken, it'll be really easy to do. But anybody who's interested, tell them to reach out, and I'll put them in contact with the right people for sure.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Like so many people, it's, team leader, broker owners might look at this of, oh, well, man, I'd rather just start my own and keep a bigger piece of the pie, right? But it ends up being the exact thing that they know that their agents do to them. That's the wrong move for them when they're, leave for, a little bit less money, but they know it's the wrong play. And, it's so funny, dude. Like, I see so many realtors constantly, and even my, own groups and stuff that are like, hey, who does the best work for the cheapest? And I'm like, you were just bitching about a listing, appointment that we're trying to get you to discount your commissions, and we're so offended. Now you're doing the same shit, right? Karma's a bitch. So, but it's like, look, yeah, when you talk about strategic partnerships, it's like you want to focus on growing your real estate business, right? And by growing your real estate business, that then feeds this strategic partnership, right, where everybody wins with it. Like, for example, like I have a JV on a title company. I don't do anything, right? Other than grow our real estate business to feed them more deals, and it's a win-win for everybody and adds a little bit extra money, but they run the business, right? I got a buddy that does about $250,000 a year on insurance premiums, and he JV'd with the insurance. Like he's not an insurance agent, right? They're just feeding him deals, and that's the power of that, right? Of being able to have the right focus, not get bogged down, and bring those the revenue sources. And
it's real exciting because obviously Quicken's going really large digital as well. So not only do they help a ton with the marketing, but at the same time, then our partnerships with those data companies and the digital side of it is now you actually have cross budgets, right? So you're also wiping out your expenses, and now you're getting fed leads with proven scripts, proven systems. And I have like a 2-week kind of start of all the stuff we kind of talked about, and I could make it like a free link for whoever wants it. I could put it in like the YouTube comments or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool, man. Yeah, because we'll put that if you get that to us, because we'll probably be about 2 or 3 weeks before we release. So let's have a button and I can like put on online, PDF where they'll click it, go to a link, and they can download it. Any of the links that you have, that'd be great. So you're watching, listen, click below. Speaking with that, because dude, recruiting is, it's just like as you're an agent working by yourself, like you're always recruiting, right? You can't ever stop. The second you stop, close a bunch of deals, and when you do close a deal, you're unemployed again. So it's the same thing on the agent side, right? I love, dude, the concept of starting a real estate school. So can you kind of walk us through that? Is the real estate school like virtual based, or is it in your office? And then, if so, like I think we can, if you have some strategies that you're doing there to recruit those agents, but I think we can all kind of get that of the experience, the environment, and develop you're the first one to develop the relationship. But kind of from a logistics standpoint, like if I want to go start my own real estate school, like where, now that you've been through it to hack time, like where do you go? How do you start the process?
So the first thing you want to do, send your recruiter all the main real estate schools that are available to start there, just to see, what do people like about those schools? Make sure you can engage with the students and start seeing, what percentage do you get, because they let any employing broker go there. You just have to bring lunch, to the real estate schools. And that's how we really went from kind of that 20 to, 50 people, right? But then now you could do multi-layer. You could file and go exactly through your regulatory bodies and create your own school, but you need to make sure you have something legit. It's a real business. It has to have a why. They don't just let people start real estate schools just like nonprofits, right? Or you go connect with, there's a lot of affiliate programs, so partnerships, right? Where they actually have the real estate school, but you can house it at your office. And that's actually where we started. And so it worked out really, really well. You just have to find a teacher. And so again, I always love, recognizing people. I got this lady named JD, came from 20 years of, public schools and, teaching, and she likes real estate, but she loves teaching. And so she runs that and, make sure that, hey, I love being there. And it's actually, you could do virtual ones, but I always recommend the in-house ones, because if you're doing it for recruiting, you want people who are willing to show up for 6 weeks for a certain amount of hours one time a week, because that's kind of the first test, right? Because then that, like we were talking about with, man, I got systems for everything. If anybody ever wants some of them, I'm happy to help, right? From document trackers and, P&Ls for each agent, stuff like that, right? Then you got pass-through rate, test date rate, second pass, third pass, and you can start tracking all that to then your end conversion of your real estate school makes sense. So I always say, hey, first start in the schools, then partner with the school that will allow you to teach their materials, and then eventually you could start your own. Because then you could give it away for free, I guess. You're not making money off the school, you're making education accessible, right? So that's kind of the part.
Yep. No, I love it, man. So then, you talk about systems for everything, dude. Is there like, there's so much that goes into this, and this would be like a 3-part, 2-hour each podcast, right, to break down systems and processes. But like, what are some of your favorite tools that you're using right now that are helping it? Because it's like, one of the things that intimidating things for a lot of people out there with tracking is, next thing you know, you're living out of 30 different Google Sheets, and which maybe still is the case, I don't know. But like, what are some of the tools that you utilize to help keep you on track?
Look, if you don't run Gmail, and use Drive, those, because the ability to share, the ability to operate, the ability to work. But the other part is, for me, I always like certain KPIs, right? And so as you look at major performance indicators in your business, is you have to have a tracker for everything when it comes to leads, right? Lead management, first and foremost. Then the second part behind that, though, is taking that lead management into now going away from actually just the tracking the leads, but then the behavior. So we actually have like attendance trackers, right? Like, how many people show up for the lead gen party? How many people show up, for XYZ event? And the reason why you'll find is that that's kind of like Facebook, it's engagement. How engaged are people? And lastly, then, I think the hardest part for most people is, man, I love our agents so much, I wish I could spend more time with them, is that, everybody you want to make sure that people are happy and they can make the right decisions. But once you start managing a business, it's all about your P&L. And so my favorite one is actually a P&L tracker for every single agent. It's because then you take your cost per leads, you take their conversions, you take everything, because one day, I haven't shared this yet, but when they go start their own company or when they want to go start their own team, I'll have a P&L tracker for them. So then that way we can actually assess what business model is right for them to level up. So then that way they don't just go make a decision and now all of a sudden they can't sustain what they could when they were on our team. Does that make sense?
Yep. No, I love it, man. And it's, even when it comes from like a training and coaching standpoint, right? Like, on my team, we're kind of a funky model in that we don't give leads. We give everything but leads. It allows us to give a better split, more progressive split, scale more. And it was their choice. I gave them the option. I'm like, hey, we can be this traditional team, or I can teach you guys and give you all the tools and teach you what I do, charge you 20% less, right? Where my cost per acquisition might be $247, but you're paying me $2,500. So why don't you just keep the $2,250, right? And we all win, and I give them the vote, and it all worked, right? But when I was giving leads, or even in my ISA department, right? We had the P&L on each agent, but then, all the breakdown KPIs from there, right? Like, for example, like, we're tracking, everything from not just the lead and the cost per lead and acquisition side, but on the activities that it takes. Like, we got to know the path to a deal. How many dials, how many notes enter your CRM, how many reach outs, conversations, appointment set, conductions, clients, and then closings, also per lead source, right? But then we start breaking that down and you're seeing the percentages, right? It's like we're able to know what the exact percentage is. So when an agent comes that needs help, instead of just saying, hey, I'm struggling, it's like, bam, right? Like, just focus on this one thing. So my top agent last year, Her goal is this year is a big, not a huge increase, but like about a 40% increase to do like 76 deals this year, right? So I'm going through a game plan with her, and we start breaking this down. I'm like, look, if you just focus on this one thing, which was her client, so meaning as soon as they sign a buyer broker or a listing agreement, they get tagged as a client. But her client to closing ratio was like 41%, and it should be 50%, right?
Sure.
So we have the benchmarks like, hey, what's good? And then like, what's mastery? Like, where are you really badass at? But I did the math, and I'm like, dude, if you keep everything else status quo and you just focus on this one thing, that would have made a difference of just over $40,000 net after splits in her pocket last year. No more money spent, no more leads, no more on just that one thing. But if you don't track that data, you can't make those smart, methodical decisions. Just like, I mean, with another agent that's wanting to grow their business, they're like, well, I'm going to go do all these open houses. So they start breaking down their business for last year. I'm like, dude, 3% of your business came from open houses. What the fuck are you doing open houses? Right? And then they're like, well, you always talk about it. I'm like, yeah, it worked for me. Right? I'm like, here's your two, run with these two, and leverage that up, right? But when you're not tracking that data, and most agents just won't track it, right? So we have to track it for them, right? Just like you guys are doing. So,
and I think, we almost got there about a year ago, right? With all this disruption and change, but I'm so thankful today. We got to get better every day. I actually just redid our entire onboarding of our last 120 days. So I have a brand new and it has more trackers, it has more things, because the agent does need to level up faster now. Right? I can still give them Zillow leads. So we still have a team where they still get a bunch of leads, because I still want to educate on every source out there. You know what I mean? Everything. Non-biased, right? I'm not Gary Keller trying to kill, Zillow. I'm not Zillow trying to do this, right? Just, hey, unbiased. If this makes you money, I want to teach you about it, right? And at least test it, right? Test all these things. And so I'm fortunate that we ran double-digit profit margins because of how successful our real estate agents were. And when you start to scale in volume with partnerships, you get stuff at discount, right? Cost. And now I can feed that discounted cost to our agents who level up. So I'm thankful, man, because I almost had to come to a vote like that, but we were able to say, hey, not 8 out of 10 need this stuff in the beginning, you know what I mean? And then eventually, though, hey, it's a little more scarce, but it's still an option for them. So I'm excited, man. I got a new training that, I just want to make simple, free. It's nowhere near mastery like, you need to be for people that want to accomplish what we did. You know what I mean? But it's still a great start for all this stuff we just talked about to make sure you're ready for the next 5 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So is that training, is that just agent specific for your brokerage, or is that something that you?
No, man. I'll share a link that's pretty cool. I had those data guys kind of help, because I was trying to take our online training kind of virtual. So like part-timers, or like, I hated kind of being SEAL Team 6, right? Because, man, at our office, I got these moms, I got these, guys who, are coming from, tough lives, right? But giving them a shot at real estate, but then making sure SEAL Team 6 doesn't necessarily get held down because some people are a little slower, right? And so that's kind of where that leveling up. And I always said, hey, if we can make sure that you keep running successfully off a team, and man, I'm so thankful they keep helping each other. And that's really, though, what I'm excited about with, all these partners is, if somebody wants to duplicate our real estate model, I got that ready for them. But my excitement is to kind of implement that mortgage side into their real estate model, but they have to make sure that we have that kind of 3-point check to where we're doing this with strategy. It's not just coming in to talk about money, because I don't want that liability. You know what I mean?
Yep. 100%. All right, man. Well, the last question I want to ask you before we wrap up here, which is what I always end with. Now, I asked you in this last podcast of if you could give at least I think I did. I asked everybody, so I'm sure I did. But if you could rewind back and give yourself 2 pieces of advice, knowing what you know now from when you started, like if you go back to Justin day one and have that conversation, what would those 2 pieces of advice be? But now is this second time, so you're on the podcast about a year and a half ago. If Justin today could go back and have that conversation with yourself just over a year ago and give yourself 2 pieces of advice from what you've learned over the last year or so, what would that look like now?
The first one would be to keep some of the relationships, that with individuals who are growing in different direction a little closer. And the reason being is because influence matters, right? And the people that people spend time with matters. And when individuals that are counting on you as a leader to spend enough time with them. If you don't do that, right, they'll be influenced by others. But then the second piece of advice I would give myself, right, is to continue to never give up on the core strategy that you set in year 1 to get to where you are in year 5. And ours was to be the number 1 place for a newer agent to start. And so make sure you never, ever deviate from the strategic mission you put in place, your short-term goals, until you've hit that long-term number. And they kind of combat each other. And that's the story of my 4 years a little bit, right? And, you know, our growth, but also our struggle. And that's the hard part, though, is how do we all as top leaders make sure that we keep going to where we want to be, we keep leading our brokerages to where we want to be, but always remember we're where we are today because of somebody else who helped us 4 years ago. I think it's like 12 years ago or something like that, right? Like, so, and the reason being is, man, the industry is changing forever. We need to keep leveling up, you know, seeking mastery, like you say, and we need leaders to be there for those that are new. So I'm always excited, man, to grow relationships. And Josh, knowing a handful of people get a second time, man, it means the world to me.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, man. I always love jamming with you, dude. I love your energy, dude. Man, you're just, you know, you got the energy, you got the passion, but you got the wisdom, you know, right? And you take massive action. So, both you guys are, you know, are my kind of people, right? That I love rolling with and mastermind all day with you. Unfortunately, I gotta jam for a meeting here in a few minutes. So we went along with the show with that. But yeah, dude, it's massive honor, man. And those watching, listening, guys, we're gonna have links to all this stuff below. So we'll have links to, you know, to Justin's brokerage website. So if you just want to see, you know, their company website, as well as to get in touch on the mortgage partnership side, as we talked about, the training program, ways to all the social links to get in touch with Justen, and all that fun stuff. So make sure that you click below. I don't care where you're at. Maybe you're listening on iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you're at. It'll be below for you. And I know I never podcast with this, you guys, but information without implementation truly is the start of delusion. Information is not power. It's taking that information and taking massive action on it that creates the power in the world for yourself, for you to create the life that you know you want and deserve. And, you know, Justen, he was a dude that went out there and seek the information, but he then backed up that information that he got by massive action. And that's how in 4 years he's been able to do and create what most don't ever do in a decade, in a whole entire career, you know, right? When I say most, you know, probably 95% plus of the industry is able to accomplish in a whole 30-year career he's done in 4 years, right? It's getting that information, going out there and taking massive action on it. So that's living proof right there. Thank you guys again for watching and listening. Truly appreciate all your support. And you guys, man, I know we went long on time, man. We've been jamming for almost 2 hours. I know you're busy. You're in Michigan right now, so I really appreciate you guys taking time to be here.
Appreciate you coming.
Thanks so much. Appreciate you guys.
It's an honor.
Appreciate you, man.
All right, peace. See you guys next time.